In today's video, we're going to talk about the first look previews for Murders at Karlov Manor as we return to Ravnica in, March or February of next year. And the early previews are definitely pretty cool right off the bat, so let's get into the video. Alright everybody, thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate you guys. As always, if you enjoyed the videos and what I do here, feel free to show some support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to be notified when new videos are posted, click the bell notification. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think so far of this set. So, Murders at Karlov Manor doesn't come out until the first quarter of next year, but they've been doing these, previews for a while now, where it's basically, I think, designed more so for, vendors and people who are going to start placing orders to at a higher level, be able to get a general sense of what the product's going to be like, if it's going to be worth it, so on and so forth, and just to sort of build some excitement. I thought we'd have some Ravnica Remastered spoilers coming pretty soon, too, because that's actually slated to be released earlier in January, but right now we haven't gotten much of that yet, so I will be making a video about it when we get there. It just hasn't happened yet. So this set is going to be the first set with play boosters. There will be no more draft and set boosters. It's just going to be play and collector, which is great because it's going to make it a lot less confusing and will hopefully make regular booster packs a little bit more worthwhile to open. Now, there are not a lot of preview cards to talk about so far, but one of the things I wanted to mention first off the bat is Invisible Ink rares. And you can see the one on the screen here. This is Alquist Prof Master Sleuth, which is a really cool card we'll talk about in a second. This Invisible Ink rare is, you can see sort of the highlighted text where it says handsome, genius, but of course, etc. on the card itself. That is the sort of foiling effect that's going across the middle of the card. These are invisible ink. I don't know if these are going to be collector booster only or how exactly they're going to be pulled, but they are a slight modification of the dossier showcase style, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. But let's look at the card itself first. So it's one white, blue, legendary creature, human detective. It has vigilance, and when it enters the battlefield, investigate. You can pay X white, blue, blue, and then tap, sacrifice a clue. You draw X cards and gain X life. So obviously the clue mechanic is coming back in full force here. The whole set is a murder mystery themed set, so of course they're going to be using the clue mechanic. But I can see this being a really, really cool commander to build around, especially because there are so many cards that can make clues and sort of work with the investigating. And being able to, kind of get that on a dime is definitely not bad. It's low cost. And being able to draw power and gain life if you're starting to get later in game or just have more resources in general, I do like it on the surface, and I think it's going to have some use. I don't know whether or not it's, really good, though. I might be missing something, so if you guys feel differently about this one, let me know. But I do think it has some use. It's just, it doesn't strike me as, super powerful like a few of the other cards we're going to talk about in just a moment. Aurelia, the Law Above. Aurelia returns with a new card. It is a 3 red white legendary creature angel with flying, vigilance, and haste. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, this card deals 3 damage to each of your opponents and you gain 3 life. It is cool, but it is definitely not the strongest Aurelia. It is alright, and being a 5-drop with vigilance, haste, and flying is certainly not terrible. I think it'll see some play in standard for sure. I mean, how often are you attacking with 3 or more creatures enough where this is going to pay for itself? In terms of, being worthwhile investing resources into. It's definitely a solid card, but I don't think it's going to be great in most things. I guess you could build around it, though, as, your commander, and in that case, maybe you make it work that way. Either way, though, it's definitely a cool card, and we did learn there will be some serialized cards in the collector boosters for at least Aurelia and a few others. I think it's going to be numbered out of 250. More details on that, though, as they come. I couldn't find enough confirmation on exactly how many there were going to be. Now, the dossier showcase style is going to be like the Invisible Ink, but without the writing and the foiling. I do think this is a really, really cool one that obviously plays into the themes of the set. Curious Cadaver is 2 blue-black creature zombie detective with flying. When you sacrifice a clue, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Not a bad resource engine, though it is a bit costly to be able to bring out. I think if it cost 1 less, it might actually be really solid because you could bring it out relatively easy, use it as a blocker, or, bait the opponent to get rid of it. But returning to the hand for, resource management, or, if you're playing something that's, discarding stuff, to have some, resources more easily, it definitely has that use going for it. But I do like the showcase style quite a bit as well, and I just thought this card was decent enough that it was worth talking about to kind of show that off. Now, we've also got the magnified showcase style. These are really, really neat. I haven't seen any, rares or mythics in them yet, so I don't know what they'll look like, but this card is Deduce. It is 1 and a blue, instant, draw a card, investigate. So, of course, you're drawing a card, then creating a clue token. Obviously, will work well within the confines of the set, though I don't know if it's great in general. I'm sure this probably some better cards for draw power and token generation, but it's not bad, and the showcase style does look really, really cool, so I look forward to seeing what some of the other magnified cards will look like as we get some more looks at them. Wojek Investigator is 2 and a white. This is a buy a box promo, but it is available in the set as well, I believe. It has Flying, Vigilance, and at the beginning of your upkeep, investigate once for each opponent who has more cards in hand than you. Pretty darn good across the board here, especially for decks that are going to be wanting to utilize clue tokens. If you're, playing with lower hand counts and you can just get a bunch of tokens each round, obviously in Commander you can combine this with a lot of the token multipliers to just spam the board with clue tokens and be able to go off and do all sorts of things. This is a really neat card, though. It's low cost, and it does a lot, and it's probably going to be slotted into, multiple things, but specifically things built around the Investigate mechanic. Now, we've got Rakdos, Patron of Chaos, as an absolutely bananas card, at least for Commander. It is 4 black-red legendary creature demon with flying and trample. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. Obviously, Kalia the Vast is a Commander deck that comes to mind right off the bat as a card that can make great use of this. Putting that kind of pressure on the opponent, whichever opponent you select, is either giving you significant draw power or outing problems pretty damn strong, and it's not getting rid of they can't sacrifice tokens, so you're actually going to be doing some significant damage to their board unless, unless they want to let you draw. I mean, it's a really, really strong card. It's a little costly for Standard, but it wouldn't shock me to see it find its way into certain decks outside of the Commander format as well. Another quick note from the introduction is we do have the Impossible lands, and I apologize, this isn't the best photo of them, but there haven't been a lot of, HD shots of them around yet. They look kind of alright. They remind me of New Capenna's lands. I don't think they're anything crazy. I think we've had some better lands in recent sets, but I know a lot of people are going to like these, especially if you're a fan of Ravnica, so I just kind of wanted to show those off. Now, the other thing worth mentioning is this is new, the Ravnica Clue edition. So, I believe Hasbro owns both. It's a crossover between WotC and Clue, and this is actually a really interesting product. It's designed for 3 to 4 players, and it has 8 ready-to-play Magic boosters, plus a guaranteed shock land, which we'll talk about in a moment. It's basically going to be like a modified version of Jumpstart. There's going to be cards in here that are Clue exclusive. So there are actually, I believe, 10 Clue cards that are in this game that are obviously playable in Eternal formats, but Colonel Mustard and a few others. There's not enough images of the cards yet to make it work where I wanted to show them off, but we will do a separate video talking about it when we have a little bit more information. But this is kind of cool, and I'm glad. I hope this means they're getting rid of the Jumpstart boosters. This is going to be interesting, and obviously the biggest appeal there is the Shocklands. You see here the Hollowed Fountain on the screen. This is one of the Shocklands, obviously. These are not going to be in Collector boosters or in the main set. They will only be in this, and they're obviously going to be probably worth a decent amount because of how exclusive they're going to be, but also because they're like alternate Clue art Shocklands, and that's just really cool. So, obviously, we know Ravnica Remastered will be giving us all the Shocklands in mass, but these are probably going to remain a premium because it's going to be, a limited quantity, and I don't think you're going to see a ton of people buying these unless it's for the shocks, but we'll have to see how that kind of shapes up and what they end up being priced at. This is kind of cool, though, and I'm glad they're not just completely devaluing Ravnica Remastered by throwing shocks in the main set, but it's definitely something to look forward to. So that's going to do it for this video. Just sort of a very basic introduction. We haven't gotten a lot, but I'll keep it here. I'll cover things as they come. Let me know what you guys think of the reveals so far in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.